Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Green Squad Chats. Today, we've got Marty, Travis, and Tom, and Brandon, myself. And again, we're taking a topic from our earlier accountability group call with the Green Squad. And this one centers around books and mentors and courses and how valuable it can be to read and consume those courses and have mentors and learn from them, but that just reading the book or just taking the course and trying to copy and paste exactly what you just read or learned about to your own life doesn't always work. And it can actually frustrate you. And we're going to dive in maybe to some of the reasons as to why that happens. But essentially, we have unique lives, circumstances, environments, ways we think about things. And so copy and pasting what worked for somebody else might not work for you. I'm always fascinated by that topic. Who's got some ideas on that?
Well, I mean, if you look at it just logically, right? James operates in an environment where houses routinely go for $1 million. I operate in an environment where houses routinely go for $10,000. So if I was to copy and paste exactly what James does, it just wouldn't make any sense, right? I'm dealing with an entirely different market, entirely different people, entirely different mindset of customers. And so if I was to just do exactly what James does, that wouldn't work here. But if I got to pick and choose what he's doing and the things that I like that he's doing and incorporate that and mold that to my environment, and my customer, and my real estate environment.
One of the concepts or phrases that I heard throughout my military career was this idea of building a leadership toolbox. Anybody heard that phrase before? And as you have different experiences, meet different people, interact with different leaders, you pick up some tools. And sometimes you find a tool that you say, I want that tool in my toolbox. And I think this is another way of saying the same thing. You probably all have, I certainly did, had a leader, a mentor, where I really related to a lot of the things they did, a lot of the way they operated, a lot of the way they talked to other people. But then there's probably one or two things where I didn't agree with the way they did business. And that's okay, right? That doesn't make them not a good mentor or a good leader. And I think it's the same way with books. You can glean a couple of useful things, but I don't have to read a book that has 10 chapters and implement chapters 1 through 10. Take what applies to you, right? We're all saying pretty much the same thing. You absolutely can and should pick and choose. And man, if you find alignment where somebody wrote a book or you have a mentor and you can just copy and paste everything, good for you. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's probably I think the reality is that's hard to find. And I don't think you should hold yourself to that standard where you expect yourself to have to implement everything you read in a book or you have to model your mentor step by step, because the reality is that probably won't work for you.
Yeah, Tom, because there's always something that's just a little bit different, right? What worked for you 5 years ago won't work for me now because the interest rates are different, the environment is different, the location, you in California, me in Missouri. So there's always something different, and each one of those little different things is going to change the outcome. And so what I can do is kind of figure out what you did.
The reality is it's that stuff, Marty, and it's the individual differences. It's the personality differences. It's how much you want to be in the business or not in the business, right? It's all of the things, both external and internal, that come together to make it work for you.
Well, I just kind of want to sit on that for a little bit, because if we expect that we're going to evolve and develop and grow and learn new things throughout our lives, then what you just said, Travis, is, to me, it resonates deeply. Like in 5 to 10 years, I should be different than I am right now. I should have different views on things. And even so, there's core foundational type values and passions and things that we have in our lives. But even those, I think we redefine them as we go along, and they mean different things to us at different times in our lives. And you saying future self, it lets me know that something that's really important to me may be like the most important thing to me right now. But in 10 years, yeah, it's still part of me, but now a different part of me. Like that part of me is more important for me to kind of manifest and use. So Man, that really resonated deeply with me. I don't know about anyone else. And to your question, I don't know that I answered your question. I think it just resonated with me, Travis. But I think your question is, has anyone else here read anything in a book that either resonated or didn't resonate? And you're like, man, this is an otherwise great book, but this part, it doesn't really resonate with me. So I'm going to let it go.
I do that with military leaders a lot. You know what I mean? I think military leaders showed me what not to do more than they showed me what to do. And, I would see somebody make a decision or talk to somebody a certain way, and I'd be like, I don't want to be that guy. And so then I would put that in my toolbox that Tom talked about earlier. And I would be like, and when I'm in that situation, I don't want to handle it that way. I want to handle it differently. And so maybe not books have not showed me what not to do, but definitely people have showed me what not to do.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me a lot of just adult development, vertical development, this idea that basically our mental complexity expands, and the way that we make stories about how the world works, that changes throughout our lives. So it kind of changes for most people, changes naturally depending on your age. So Travis, that resonated with me. You're a kid, you look at the world one day, things work a certain way, and you make up stories about how they work. And then as you get older, that changes and evolves. And there are things you can do along the way to kind of accelerate that, actually. And that's kind of what vertical development's all about. But yeah, we go through this metamorphosis or this transformation, if you will, for sure. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add to that.
Yeah, I'm reading the book. I think it's Atomic Habits, where it's, making those small changes today over time become gigantic changes. You know what I mean? And so as we're kind of talking about all these books and all these things, understanding that just making small changes now, and I just do that every day consistently, right? We get on these calls every week, and we've done that consistently for 5 years. Look at the exponential growth by all of us, and just because we've done that call all every week, you know what I mean? So that's sort of the one book that always comes back, no matter what situation I'm in. Just understanding that it can work for Tom, it can work for Brandon, it can work for me, no matter where we are.
Yeah, that's a great example, Marty, of principles from that book. The one you just mentioned, small actions, consistent actions, they have a compounding effect. And there's also another book called Compound Effect, and it's a similar message. And then another principle from Atomic Habits is the idea of habit stacking, like just the idea, this learning that you have things in your life you're already doing. So if you want to add another habit that you're trying, like a positive habit you want to add to the routine, then you try to piggyback off of something that you already do. And anyone can take that principle into their life and apply it no matter where they're at. You don't have to do the exact steps in the exact order that are in the book. You don't have to you don't have to take every habit that a guru or even your mentor who's just telling you, hey, I do this every morning. This is my routine. It's not necessarily what they do. It's the principle of how you could take something that would benefit you, right? And how you could implement that into your own life in the principle of stacking it. So just as an example.
Yeah, Hermosi talks about this, right? With the morning routines and stuff. And he's like, I wake up and I work, and me consistently working every day makes me millions of dollars. And so, that's his morning routine. He wakes up, he works. That's what he's figured out works for him. But he does it consistently, right? Every day he's getting up and he just starts working, right? Travis needs meditation in the morning. He does that every day, but that's what made him successful. Brandon does stoicism. He's done it consistently. That's what makes him awesome. And so just figuring out, the little pieces from Hermosi and Brandon and Travis, and figuring out that the consistency part is what's happening. Me taking that and then making it into my environment and me as a person, and figuring out what works for me.
I think we're all kind of hinting at some of the same things. I think the people that are most successful in business and in the military have found a way to blend the attributes from books, from mentors, from leaders that most resonate with them, that most align with their personality, with their values, with their objectives, and find a way to blend those attributes or skill sets or routines and discard the things that don't work. Don't waste your time with it, right? Just because somebody wildly successful like Hormozi does X, well, I can be successful without doing that thing. And I think, so I do think the most successful people are able to do that. They're able to sift through, right? Separate the chaff from the wheat, pick what works for them, and then implement savagely.
I wish James were here, man. He loves using the adjective savage.
I'd differ him.
Savage person. I love it. Yeah. So this is probably a good spot to wrap it. In fact, I don't know that I can say it any better than Tom just said it. But essentially, right, read, learn, have mentors, take the information they give you, but then reflect on it and really think about, and even take some action on it, but then assess and be willing to kind of drop what's not working, keep what's working, and figure out how you can take the principles from the things you're learning and consuming, how you can take those principles, apply them to your own life so that it works for you, because you're unique, you're different, your environment's different, and therefore the things that work for you are going to be different than other people. Even if you think you're exactly like them and you want to be where they're at, there are some differences that you're going to have to account for. So thanks for joining us on another episode of Green Squad Chats. Stay tuned. We're going to be rebranding the podcast soon. We're excited about that. Later in the summer and the early fall, I think. We're rebranding a little bit, but we're excited to bring you along for the ride. We hope you enjoy this. If you did, please leave us a review. Let us know how we can improve. Let us know what you liked or didn't like. And see you next time on Green Squad Chats.